Hello, today is October 14th, and today we are reading our gospel for this week, the 21st week after Pentecost. Our gospel is Mark 10, verses 35 through 45. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came forward to him and said to him, "Teacher, we want you to do for us what we ask of you." And he said to them, "What is it you want me to do for you?" And they said to him, "Grant us to sit, one at your right hand and one at your left, in your glory." But Jesus said to them, "You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with?" They replied, "We are able." Then Jesus said to them, "The cup that I drink you will drink, and with the baptism with which I am baptized, you will be baptized. But to sit at my right hand or at my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared." When the 10 heard this, they began to be angry with James and John. So Jesus called them and said to them, "You know that among the Gentiles, those whom they recognize as their rulers lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. But it is not so among you. But whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you must be slave of all. For the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. So, as you may have noticed as we've been moving through the Gospel of Mark this fall, the major theme that keeps coming back, keeps being repeated as Jesus is making his way back to Jerusalem, is this lesson that the disciples just don't seem to understand. That is, in all things, Jesus is trying to remind them that they must be last of all and servant of all. And the disciples really don't seem to get it. You have a couple of weeks ago, we read a story where they were arguing about who was greatest, and Jesus says they must become like little children. We have had episodes where they are dismissing the little children. Jesus says, "No, whoever is childlike is welcomed into the kingdom, and in fact, you must be last and servant of all to enter the kingdom as well." And here again, James and John just don't seem to get it. These sons of Zebedee who left behind a life as fishermen, and have found themselves into this whirlwind of attention that Jesus seems to garner to himself, they have a mind to seize the opportunity. I think for most of us, we'd be in a similar situation, right? Jesus has called us specifically from our boats, and we have been gifted, as we might see it, with leadership. So, you know what? Let's go for the full bore. Let's ask the Master. Let's be at his right and left hand in glory. This is a huge request. This is major. They are asking Jesus basically, "We want to be your primary lieutenants. Put us up there at the front. We want to be with you in your glory." And so it's easy to understand the motivations behind that. They see a chance for glory, and they see Jesus as their means to get there. And Jesus says, "You don't know what you're asking for." And when he says, you are not able to drink the cup that I drink, and James and John thinking this is the cup of glory, a baptism of glory, they say, no, we're able, we're willing, we're all in for power and influence and, a holy kingdom that we will rule with you. And Jesus says, "No, you really aren't ready. I can't choose for you to be there at my right hand or my left hand. I can, however, offer you the path." And when the 10 hear that James and John want to be basically promoted to the chief guys just under Jesus, they're mad. They're upset. They're like, you guys are not better than us. Why Why do you think you can request this special treatment? Jesus is saying, you all do not get it. This is not about fairness. As we read the gospel, as we read the path that Jesus is offering the disciples, it is not a path towards fairness for those who follow Jesus. In fact, it is a path of unfairness, that there is an undue burden, an unfair burden that's being put on the people that want to follow in Jesus' example. That it's not only that the problem with James and John is not just that they want things to be in their favor. And the problem with the other disciples is not just that things are not fair. The problem is they don't realize that what they're seeking, what Jesus is pushing them towards, is unfairness. The fact that to imitate Jesus, to drink from the cup that he is drinking, to use his language, you have to be willing to follow him to the cross. You have to be willing to put others' needs fully ahead of your own. That's what it means to imitate Jesus. That's what it means to be a disciple. That not only are things meant to be more fair, but in fact you are meant to put others ahead of you in terms of fairness. Your own due should not be your concern, Jesus is telling us. Whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first among you must be slave of all. This is not just the opposite of the way that the world works. It is a total inversion of the way that the world works. It is hard enough to get people to even consent to the idea that there should be equity for people in our daily lives, in our government, in how wealth and other things are distributed. But can you imagine if the ethic we are trying to teach each other is not that there should be more equity among people so that we all get our share, but that people were actively arguing that they get less, that they put others' needs ahead of their own. This is an extreme viewpoint. This is an extreme version. This is an extreme ethic that Jesus is offering, but it is the one that he put himself forward for first. Jesus did this first. We follow in his example because we remember that those who were at Jesus' right and left were the criminals that were put on the cross next to him. That is where Jesus goes. That is what James and John did not account for. They want to be at Jesus' right and left hand, but they don't realize that that way is the way of the cross. And that is our way too. That the Christian life is about following Jesus. And following Jesus means that we are meant to be servants of each other and of our neighbors. We are called to a rejection of the way that the world works, in which we lord our authority and our power and our wealth over each other, where we take what we want because we can. Jesus is giving us an example in his teaching and in his death that there is another way to be, and it is an astonishing and otherworldly path that we are being called to. I hope you are having a good week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.